expecting a few more pickleball players.
It's okay, we're good. Yeah. Less is more.
We're well represented, I think.
Yeah. I say we go. I can't get comfortable. My feet don't reach the ground.
Yeah, if you're in the middle, it makes it a little harder.
All right, it is 7 o'clock, and I'd like to bring our Park and Recs Board meeting to order. We do have a quorum tonight. We have Wendy Bailey, Tracy Hunter in the house, Patrick Shrines with me, Bob Ferguson, and Stephanie Presley, all present. Before we go into the regular session, we're going to do public comments, although I will say that if you want to speak about the pickleball, I'd rather you wait till we bring that up so we can speak to it and we can interact with you. Otherwise, if you talk about it now, we can't say anything and just let you go on and on and on. So if that's okay with everybody, that's what we'll do. And I do want to give Connie White an award tonight for the nicest penmanship I've ever seen on one of these. This looks like it was printed, so it's very nice. All right, so that being said, we can move right into regular session unless we have anybody who wants to talk about something besides pickleball. All right, our first item on the agenda is we want to approve our minutes from last month, from July 24th. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Wendy, motions. Patrick, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's passed unanimously. All right, we were going to talk about,
Move on down.
you want to do a pool next, or you want to move it?
Move it down, please.
All right, we were going to talk about the pool, but our pool expert's not here, so we're going to switch the order up. I don't think anybody minds, the pickleball people don't mind. So we are going to discuss our item number 3, take appropriate action regarding installation of pickleball courts. We want to talk to you and then take comments, or take comments and then talk to you? All right, why don't we bring up Ronnie Angel and let him discuss at least what we know from the city's take on this.
All right. Well, thank you all for allowing me to be here again tonight. The last meeting, I know was on there for announcements and different things on pickleball, and then there were some questions and different things. We brought it back, put on the consideration and action portion. Want to thank Wendy and Patrick from the subcommittee, and the volunteers have helped out on the subcommittee these past few weeks. I actually kind of turn it over to them and let them kind of give an update on what's been discussed in the past few weeks.
Sure, I can take that. Thank you, Ronnie. Echo your gratitude for subcommittee members, town staff that's helped, yourself, and also our volunteers that have stepped in. So after a lot of consideration and research, the pickleball subcommittee recommends that the full Parks and Recreation Board supports moving forward with a focus on the city-owned Eastern Water Tower Tract, which is this land right next to Town Hall. And we have some diagrams in the packets that, I don't know if everybody has these. Do we have electronic copy to share of the picture, just to kind of, for everyone's sake? So this is what our recommendation is based on. We still have some work to do with engineering, but at this point, it seems feasible. The main reason the subcommittee recommends this location is, recognizing the growing sport of pickleball, we felt it prudent to dedicate a high-quality, purpose-built complex that, residents could utilize, and it would enhance home values. It doesn't take away for any existing well-used spaces or facilities from other parks. There's other sports like tennis, baseball, football, soccer, and even play areas for children. So this dedicated complex would be a new facility for our Parks Department, which is a great thing. It complies with the best use and purpose of that tract there. And it's a good long-term civic investment. We could host tournaments, larger tournaments, rented space, and, it could also be developed in phases if needed. And this recommendation is, of course, barring any engineering or funding showstoppers.
So I know there's been some discussion about different locations within Trophy Club. And the one thing I think we were in agreement last month, at least, before we get all the comments up here, but one thing that concerned me a little bit about this master plan that we have was that the budget process, I believe council approved a certain dollar amount to build courts altogether. And when you expand the scope to 8 courts or 10 courts, wherever it grows, plus parking, plus, it then takes that exponentially to a higher dollar amount, which means we'd have to get back in front of council all over again, get re-voted on, rebudgeted. And I think, Ronnie, whatever we do, I believe it'd be our recommendation that if we did stick with this up here, that we could do something in phases. Start out with 4 courts, then the bathrooms, or 5 courts, or create some type of a phasing process, maybe.
If needed.
If needed. If needed, yeah, I'll just asterisk that, if needed.
Yes, definitely. Anything can be done in phases. We just wanted to show you the full picture up front, and I don't have the cost estimates of what it'll be for the full picture yet, but definitely we can look into phases.
Right, and that's something we're waiting on, right, is
Correct.
engineering concurrence on, I think we've got preliminary concurrence on the easements and the plausibility of what we're showing. There's an updated figure, Daniel, I don't know if you have that one. But anyways, final, kind of concurrence from engineering as far as technical, but also the funding aspect as well.
I have a question or a comment. Is it cool? One, I can see how many in the crowd really have a passion for pickleball, and I think that's great. My question is, has anyone reached out, investigated who actually owns that property? Because my understanding is that is Mud District property between the Eastern Water Tower track between Town Hall and T.W. King Road.
Yes, that piece of property is town property with the exception of where the water tower is. Yes.
So we already own it. So that's cool.
So,
Yeah, and we're confirming all that with TMP, and TMP has already looked at that, so, yes.
so I think one of the things we wanted to accomplish tonight was to vote on moving this forward, but I think in fairness to the citizens, we should let everybody have, because I know there was other locations and places and ideas, so why don't we start out with Connie White? If you want to come up, Connie, and
Thank you. I'm Connie White, 119 Trophy Club Drive. A few weeks ago, I was asked by the subcommittee to communicate what was happening to our pickleball players, particularly the morning players. And I say this because the request also said to please gather input. So what you're hearing from me is not just me. It is, I have been gathering that input. We believe that the pickleball complex that's being proposed would be really extremely positive for the town. We think it would be a good thing. We think it would bring in revenue, hopefully for restaurants, the hotels, tax revenue for the city, all of those things. And it has the potential, as people have said, making us a destination. Therein lies what I see as a bit of a problem, because I know the effort will take longer, as you pointed out. I know it's a lot more money. I know it is is not even firm right now that we know it can happen. The bigger thing is that, let's say it does, which I totally support, it can become a very commercial location. You know, we talk about it bringing people to town. That's what we want. That's what we're talking about building, okay? But that also has the potential of killing the community aspect of the pickleball. So what I would like to suggest, and that is especially because of the location on the edge of town, what I would like to suggest is that in the meantime, we consider doing one of several things that might be a parallel effort, but at a lower cost, so that I don't think it's one or the other. I think it can be both. And what I'm suggesting, and what we are suggesting, is that we convert one of the tennis courts at Harmony to either 2 or 4 pickleball courts. However, I think you can probably put 4 in there. That would still keep one tennis court. We still have the tennis courts at Medlin. We still have the tennis courts at Independence Park. We could convert both courts into a full pickleball complex. The other thing is there's a spot right at the corner as you go out the drive that we feel like you could move the soccer fields, over a bit and build even just 2, 4 pickleball courts in there. So all of those things would be, particularly the first one, we're just taking, one court. We don't have to put lights in, we don't have to put anything except some fencing and say some resurfacing and repainting type things. So I think that would be a significant potential to keep that community aspect, to protect the people that play recreationally and still move forward and maybe take a little of the pressure off of moving forward and doing that right, because I do think that's a really good idea. I think that, okay, there also at Harmony Park, there may be some room just south of the restrooms. There's some space in there before you get to the soccer field, the large soccer field. So that might be another spot. Of course, that would require building the court from scratch. It would be a little more expensive, but still not, what we're looking at. So taking one of these actions, particularly the first, can be done quickly and at relatively low cost. This would maintain our community commitment and the environment, and the front areas could still proceed, as I said. I would also note that since we've been playing at Harmony Park, we haven't had any complaints about noise. I kind of worry about what's going to happen when you build close to a neighborhood. Just keep that in mind. And I know that, there's a lot to be done with building up front. I'm not saying stop it at all. I'm saying take the time to do it right, but give us something in the meantime. And actually, the one other thing, you could convert some of the courts down at Medlin instead of Harmony. Of course, prefer.
Such a nightmare for driving.
Well, okay.
Traffic nightmare. I live there, so I know it's terrible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connie.
So I know a lot of you have things to say, and let's just make sure we keep it within 4 minutes. I know some of you are going to probably run long on me. Robert Allen?
We can share. It's okay. It's all good. You're good. She's used to it. I'm used to getting knocked around. We're fine.
Thanks for letting me speak. My name is Robert Allen. I live at 2418 Lilyfield. I think this is a great idea. I mean, I think that's got a good vision. I play pickleball. I've been playing pickleball about 10 years. I've played a lot of tournaments. It's a great idea, but that seems like it's going to take us a couple years to do. And what I'm proposing, if you look at the map, right by Medlin, by the tennis courts, there's an area right there where you have plenty of room. You have 135 by 65, which you need for 4 pickleball courts. And in that area, we also have 608 parking spaces between the pool, the baseball fields, Independence Park, and that one side parking lot of Medlin. I know a lot of people have, because I live over by Parkview, a lot of people have issues with the amount of traffic on a Saturday or Sunday with baseball and football going on together. But if we just stop the parking, even if we don't do what I'm suggesting, if we do not allow parking on the street, we have tons of parking spaces. It would be safer, kids aren't running out between the cars because they're late for practice, mom's not pulling up parking in front of the fire hydrant. That's the easiest solution. Even if we don't, we shouldn't allow people to park there. We have ample spots. You go to that pool parking lot on a Saturday, the back half of it's completely empty. But there's no spots in front of the ballpark. Well, they can walk. Every one of those parking lots is 20 yards from Independence Park. If you had 4 teams on every baseball field, 1 playing, 2 waiting, and every one of those kids brings 3 family members, you're only at like 800 kids on 7 fields. We have plenty of parking. We just don't need it parking on the street. And that area that I'm proposing, it's got water, drainage, electric for the lights. We have bathrooms, we have covered spots, play areas for the kids, and we have ample room for covered. It's not an issue. I've been dealing with the school traffic and Independence Park traffic for 12 years. You just don't go at 8 o'clock in the morning when they're dropping the kids off, and you don't go at 4 o'clock when the high school kids get out. The land is owned by us. There's a lot less work to get it ready for pickleball. The grading is going to be very simple. I mean, we can do something. I was looking at putting a private court in, for $40,000. I know our cost is going to be much more than that, but you can put in 4 pickleball courts for under $250,000. And this is going to be a lot more than that. This will bring to the town a trophy club. I'd love to do pickleball tournaments, but this is a futuristic. Plus, I don't even know if I should get off on Dove Road or Solana because the lane's not open. I mean, getting here is not now it's open, it's easier. But I just think that area right there, if we block the street, no parking, is the ideal place. And I know all the people that live down by Harmony will have to drive my way instead of me driving the 6 hours to Harmony. And that's mine. I appreciate, but I just think it's a cost that we could get it done quickly or more quick. And this could be something we could do too,
So
down the road.
You want this in addition to that or instead of that?
I think this is going to get done. Most people that I know and I play pickleball with, they just want to get pickleball courts.
Got it.
This is for all the people that play at Harmony, and I know 90% of them, they don't play tournaments. I mean, we're not professionals. You ought to go watch. It's the worst pickleball you've ever played or watched. This is going to be good pickleball. We'll get tournaments coming in. We'll have the Texas Open instead of being in
No,
great. I don't
We're
want
not going to
it.
be big enough for that. It'll be
Not
more
quite
like.
big enough because they have
No,
like 40
we've already-
courts.
We've already actually.
But we can
had
do
this-
small tournaments if it's.
Yeah, totally could.
Like 100 players.
Sure.
We can't do 1,200 players.
Those won't
I
happen
don't want
every-
1,200
I know.
players.
We're not, it won't be big enough to.
Right.
We're not big enough to.
No, we don't want it.
No.
But like, I don't see there a tournament a month coming. So it would be your court. And occasionally you'll have a novice come out and play, but probably not very often.
Right.
It'll be yours. It'll be for you. It'll be beautiful.
Oh, I think it would be. I think it'd be
Yeah.
a draw, but I'm just looking for something. And we could also have 4
This
courts.
just shoves
over-
more crap where there's already a bunch of crap.
There it is.
Let's move
It's the
stuff
play
there.
area.
Let's go.
It's all the
out.
schools combined in all the parks.
I know, I'm
Oh, I know.
super familiar.
I live right there.
Yeah.
And so,
Um,
I mean, if I don't mind it, I
No,
mean,
I'm with you, I'm with you.
but even if we don't do this, we've got to stop the parking on Saturdays and Sundays. Somebody's going to get killed. One of these kids running across because mom's trying to find a parking space or dad, and they going to hit the kid darting between 2 cars and run into the Independence Park.
Well, I think that would be a conversation
Yeah.
with,
With-
with,
Yeah, I agree with that.
The-
I don't
the-
think we have that control.
You're, what
Yeah.
are you today?
We're not-
Are you a little of both? That's a police conversation, a police department conversation, not us.
Well, no, I'm just saying, it needs to be done.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Kim Farrell?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kim Farrell. I live at 10 Katy Lane, right adjacent to Harmony Park. And Dean, we used to be on the board together.
Oh, I know.
You can remember multiple years ago, I brought up pickleball.
You did.
And here we are, centuries
10
later,
years later,
still
we're still
talking
talking
about pickleball. But possibly that's because I just noticed some wording that we wouldn't take away from bigger sports like tennis. I don't know, but I haven't seen very many tennis players at Harmony lately. And if you guys haven't driven by Chicken and Pickle, that'll tell you what is happening in pickleball. It is getting to be a very, very big sport. And I know you guys have a lot on your plate. But I think one of the things that have several of us, our minds are kind of rapidly going, what's going on with this new idea? Lots of us used to play over at Roanoke. And now there's like 40, 50 people standing in line to play because they've opened it up to everyone. And yes, they charge $5 for people who don't live in Roanoke. And I think some of us are really worried about what's going to happen when we're so visual. And we can see this from the highway. And people are going to start coming. And who's going to be controlling that? Who actually is going to be the policeman that makes sure that Trophy Club residents get to finally have pickleball courts where we can really play pickleball courts in a real environment. And we don't have to worry about touching the tennis net because there's signs up saying, don't lower the tennis nets. We've been second-class citizens for a long time when it comes to pickleball. And we're just asking, can we move this forward, not pie in the sky, just find some land, put a couple of courts on it, and keep everybody happy, especially the old folks that are in their 70s and their 60s that want to play. I mean, we don't want to have to fight everybody to get a court. We just want to go out and play. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, so I do have an answer for that. First of all, we're moving it forward. It's happening. We're voting. We're pushing it to council next week. So know that we are taking care of it. We hear you, we're doing it. A lot of us are new on the board, and this was the thing before I got here, and nothing really has been happening, but we've gotten a lot of momentum in the last month. So this is happening.
Okay.
Secondly, pickleball courts are going up all over the place, so I think that we need to not be so fearful that everyone's going to come to our courts, because they're everywhere now. Every town is putting them up, and restaurants are putting them up, and they're going up all over the place. So I don't think that we're going to be like, oh, Trophy Club has pickleball, let's all go. I don't think that's going to be there. I think it's going to be someone sitting at the hotel and they're like, hey, they have a pickleball court, let's go play for 5 minutes. I don't think it's going to be a huge rush on the town. I think it's going to be there for y'all, and then maybe a few residents.
I'll check with you after they're built, and we'll see.
Okay.
Thanks.
Just so you know, it's been 8 years since you brought it up. I think that's the first time we had a conversation about 8 years ago. It's been a while. All right, so Mr. Tom Bath.
Thank you, board members. Appreciate it. I spoke last time, mentioned I've been a 40-year resident, avid pickleball fan, play a little bit, nut golfer, know every square inch of Harmony Park, chasing soccer balls, baseballs, tennis balls, playing Monster, the designated monster for my son and visiting small kids. I'm also known, I was called Mr. Pickleball by the former Parks Director because I would raise the issue. There is no greater advocate for pickleball coming to Trophy Club in this room. I assure you that. Now, with that, I've been working on the pickleball subcommittee, and I want to explain a little bit about some of the rationale we used for site selection. Priority number one was no takeaways from existing courts. Y'all remember Sarah Palin debate? Her comment was, what's the difference between, I think it was a hockey mom and a badger? A hockey mom has sharper teeth and longer claws. The same is true of the soccer parents. One of the sites that has been recommended and considered by the court is the tennis courts and an area of the soccer fields. I don't know if you've ever been to Harmony Park in the spring and the fall, but during the week, it's bedlam with practice. On the weekends, it's absolute pandemonium with the most darling little kids about this tall in the shin, you know, guards covering their whole shins wandering, and the parents screaming like crazy thinking they're going to make the World Cup team, and it goes on. So we did not want to take away from any of that. Ditto with tennis. I've actually gone to Trophy Club Country Club, looked where they put 4 courts on 1 court. It's dangerous. It is a liability. Balls flying next to one another. The fencing that is normal for separating tennis courts is just a couple feet off the pickleball courts. It's a bad idea. It makes for lousy, though, community playing, and it is actually truly dangerous. So point number one, no takeaways. Point number two, we wanted to build something that would expand the image of Trophy Club, expand the Parks and Recreation footprint. And we don't have a whole lot of land to work with. This is not Westlake or Roanoke. So that land that is adjacent to us was looked on very, very favorably. We took a look also at Independence Park. All of this was considered. We got the documentation Connie mentioned from the Pickleball Club. We hadn't yet received anything, but we wanted to take a good look at Independence Park. The issue there, first off, is the traffic. It's a little more expanded than you heard. The elementary schools start loading up and the buses start flying at 7 o'clock. I'm thinking by the time high school finishes, it's 9:30 in the morning every single weekday during school year. Then it starts all over again. Starting about 2:30, Chief, about 2:30, the elementary schools, buses start flying, and by the time all the high schoolers, get finished socializing and doing, it's 4:30. And then the commuters come back in.
And the evening sports, don't
Oh, let's not forget the evening sports. So that area was mentioned as the biggest problem in Trophy Club on the last citizen survey. And, oh, by the way, the restrooms are already overloaded. You have baseball time and it's a wait and sometimes an untenable one. We don't need it. So that is why we chose this particular location. Some other points on that. I mentioned the 4 courts. We only have 4 tennis courts for 16,000 people in Trophy Club. There are apartment complexes that have more than that. So, taking those courts away and forcing, let's cannibalize the Harmony Court and moving people over to Independence Park. Come on, we can do better than that. We all know it. By the way, there is valid data. That old saying, unless you've got facts, you're just another person with an opinion. On 2 separate occasions, the Parks and Recs Board, under the former director, had video surveillance going for 2-week periods at both Independence and at Harmony. The results between those two, again, year apart, were very consistent. There was just about 0 non-measurable amount, because it was fast forward, played at Independence Park. The ratio was court usage 2-to-1, tennis to pickleball. Again, tennis is a much bigger sport. Those ratios will change over time. And I don't know about you, but I'm not real surprised that court utilization by anyone but devout crazies is gone down a little bit this last summer. It's a unique period with the weather. We do have the option with this to phase it in and maybe build it out a little bit quicker. Depending upon available funding, and we haven't really pursued that in earnest yet, we could build it in phases. Restrooms got to be there first, and quote the clubhouse, place for shelter and a drink of water. And we could either build the bottom set of 3 courts, if we're really squeezed, or maybe the top set. And there is a lot, it's going to be inconvenient, but if there's some time separation between the 2 because of funding, okay, we can separate those 2 and get it done quicker. I'm a big fan of that. In terms of noise, pickleball can be a noisy sport. One of the recommendations on the next phase we'll come up with, we may want to put 12-foot fences. And there is special material you can put on those things to help deaden the noise coming off the tuk-tuk-tuk of pickleball. At the same time, the courts they're suggesting at Harmony, they're just as close to residential areas. Okay, and so far at Harmony, we've had no particular complaints about the pickleball noise, the buffer zones we have. And if you take a look at that drawing, the housing for Les Saisons is up above that, and we've got the buffer zone of trees. It's actually called a buffer zone if you take a look at that color drawing you got, and the parking lots, and we can put up stuff there. You're also, I'm not sure that the traffic from 114, which is what, about a strong 7-iron away from those proposed courts, will be, I'm sure it'll drown out most of the pickleball noise, especially that yutz on the motorcycle at 2 o'clock in the morning whining it out. Access could be a problem, and I think we're pretty safe next to the fire station, but I think we should at least build in the ability to put video surveillance and possibly card readers. If we get that much contention for the courts, open so, okay, we might be able to get where you have to have, now you can walk behind, there's some issues with that, smile, you're on candid camera, but we may need to do something like that. So that is most of the rationale. I also want to thank the subcommittee team and our advisors who've helped us sort through this thing and confirm it's sane to move forward. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
So, before we go any further, I appreciate what Connie said earlier, that they want to play now. But I'm of the opinion of do things right the first time. And there's also a thing of law of unintended consequences. At least when we build by the police station, there's no unintended consequences of building there. I think if you did something in Harmony, there's unintended consequences. I think if you do something over by Indy, there's unintended consequences. That seems to be our best choice of the 3 locations. And I know it's not an immediate thing. You won't see these pickleball courts in the next 6 months. But this is front and center in front of council, and this is a topic. The subcommittee's been working on this for several months. They've been all over the town looking at the places, all different scenarios. And every time we look at the scenarios, we come back to the place next to the water tower. I just think it makes the most sense. The question is how to get through council, and I think we need to have a strategy of building it in stages. I just don't think biting off 8 courts plus the bathrooms and the thing and all that, that becomes a 1.5 million number, I'm sure, or something like that. But surely you could build 4 courts, the same that you were looking for at Harmony Park with some bathrooms and probably come in close to where you want to be. So anyhow, that's my 2 cents. I think at this time, do we have any discussion, at least amongst y'all, about this?
Well, I'm not in favor over near Harmony, Indy, over near Medland, the schools, not at all. I like this idea. Let me throw that out there.
Okay, good.
So what type of, I mean, I haven't heard any funding, I haven't heard any timeframes. I mean, do we have any preliminary information on that?
Well,
I
we
mean,
have,
is it,
council's approved $330,000 of parkland dedication funds to be used in the original concept. So some of that money's been spent on engineering, right? So there's about a little bit more than 300,000 left that we can reobligate to this project instead of that.
and what does that buy us? The 300,000?
That's any suggestions?
Do we have numbers yet on
We're
what this is,
waiting on
what
it.
we're looking
Yeah,
at?
We're still waiting on some numbers, but
Yeah.
the 300,000, I don't want to commit to 4 courts or 3 courts, but I know we can get the project going and get some courts out there, possibly 2 courts, maybe 3, maybe 4. I just don't, the cost for construction's all over the place
Sure.
right now, so.
Yep.
Is there grant funding that we
No.
can apply for this?
No, but we did put in this bond thing that the council just approved at the last council meeting is part of our CIP projects. This was put in there to help fund this program.
Okay,
So we did ask for money from council through the bond to help pay for the rest of this program.
And then from a time frame, just for phase 1, is it 1 year, 2 years?
Well, depending on what the cost is, we're working with our engineers. What the cost is and what they'll recommend is what we'll move with. So So with the recommendation that you guys have to move forward, we will then take that information, get with TMP, and I don't know if we'll have a plan 100% completed before next week for the council meeting, but at least maybe for the 9/11 council meeting, we may have a better proposal the second meeting from now. But it's there. I mean, like you guys said, the ball has been rolling and rolling, and we got confirmation from the engineers that it would not work at Harmony Park. The design that was originally planned, it was cramped in there, took out trees, took out everything, it was not going to work. So that's why we had to come up with a different location. So, and I think you've gotten some great information from the community tonight to make a good decision, good conversation back and forth. And we'll work with our engineers to come back with funding recommendations and stuff like that. And we can come up with a timeline, both just an outright go do it, full program, and a staged in implementation. So,
You want to make a motion? All right.
Well, hang on a second. So I think we're all in agreement then that we want to move forward just to continue the efforts to install pickleball courts, I think is the motion. We want to continue the efforts.
yeah, you want to make a recommendation to council.
And then we want to recommend that
With this
with the
location and move
location,
forward
the
with
site
numbers.
location near Town Hall.
Yes.
Okay, so let's form it up in a motion. All right, I need a recommendation to continue moving forwards installing the pickleball courts near Town Hall, this location that we see up here.
I'll make the recommendation.
First, second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Ferguson. All in favor? All right, so moved. Do we have our pool?
We do.
All right, good. So we are going to now go back to our community pool capital improvements project.
Dean,
Get
before, right before we move on to that, I just want to thank everybody for coming and speaking, all the people that helped, understand the community opinions on this. That's the purpose of our park board meeting, so thank you.
And I just want to say one last thing as far as, stupid analogy, but I remember when I got my first car. It was a 67 Chevelle station wagon, rust. And I was so happy to have a car. I was 16 years old it was a car. But it wasn't very long when that car wasn't cool anymore and it wasn't good enough and I wanted something better. I'm afraid that if we built courts by Harmony, it'd be good enough for today, and then sure enough, sooner or later, it won't be good enough and we'll be mad and we'll wish we'd done the right thing. I'd rather just do the right thing the first time and build them right here.
I agree.
Well, and it's an adult game. Let's get it away from the kids.
All right, so let's move on with our pool project.
Thank you again for allowing me to, I don't know how to work that thing, sorry. Come back up here. So last month at the park board meeting, it was brought up about the pool project and somebody mentioned the slides and, why are we putting slides in? So I thought the best thing we'd do, it would bring our consultant, David McCaskill with Half and Associates is here tonight. He can kind of help speak on that. Then also Tim Reddy, the aquatics coordinator for the town, is here, and he's got some probably information. He's been in the aquatics field for 16 years and has some ideas and everything. So I just wanted to hear from the park board and then kind of let you know the direction, when I started, this was already rolling and everything. This was the first time I heard about the slides, and we had moved location to keep the kiddie pool at the current pool, move the slides kind of more to the middle, and then we had a party room that was going to go in there. Mm-hmm. And the other thing about the party room was once we moved it, we started having discussions. Don't want to get the cart too far on the horse, or the horse too far in front of the cart right now. But we currently use some schools for summer camp programs. And our understanding is the cost is going to be going up on the school rentals. And so we started possibly having discussions about making the party room larger where we could actually hold our summer camp at the pool party room during the day, during the week, and still have it available for weekends, rentals, and different things, and more rental opportunities but that's, down the road a little bit, but just wanted to open it up and have Tom come up and speak, or David, I mean, and just get your ideas on the slides and everything.
So before we get started, it's my understanding that there were two phases to this. One was the equipment upgrade, which had to happen,
Correct.
and I believe it's already happened.
It has.
Now we're discussing
The second.
direction to go in the second phase of the
Yeah.
upgrade, correct?
Correct.
All right, good.
Thank you for calling it the party room, Ronnie.
Well, as a mom who lived at that pool, I think I said this last time, when Hawaiian Falls opened, all the kids that would be riding those slides went to Hawaiian Falls, where all the big slides are. And this was kind of the baby pool, which as a mom at the time, babies was great. Hawaiian Falls is still there. When you drive by, there's not a ton of people at the pool. So I don't know that spending that money on a slide is necessarily going to attract the kids that are already not coming. However, taking that money and parlaying it into a facility that could utilize camp kids, birthday parties, all that, maybe we dumb this down and beef this up, because this is something that we could actually make money on year-round instead of 3 months out of the year. And we need it. You can go to and rent a room at Roanoke to throw a birthday party for $25 at the rec, but we don't have anything here. And I've been thinking since my kids were little, gosh, I wish we had a place where we could just rent it out for the day and, have a space where it's air conditioned for kids who have birthdays in the summer if you don't want to have it at your house. I think this would be a really good opportunity. I mean, we could have aerobics classes there. We could have all kinds of stuff happen through the year and make money on a regular basis, or spend all this money for this slide that may or may not get used. That's my 2 cents.
All right. I
will
don't know
not
that
say
it's
it
a
anymore.
one or the other, though, is it?
Like I said, this project was already moving
Yeah,
when I
it was my
started.
understanding it wasn't one or the other. I think
No,
it's a capital
it was
improvement.
one, yeah, it was both.
I just think we have a presentation, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just look
Let
at
me
that.
invite David up.
Yeah, let's
He
look
can
at
speak
that.
a little bit more
I think that's what we need to
on kind of the idea behind what the slides could bring to the park, and who it could attract and different things like that, so.
I just want to say a thing ahead of this, though. So our company, we have partnerships with several large water parks, including Hurricane Harbor and Splashtown in Houston. And I can tell you attendance is down in all of those parks. It has a lot more to do with the heat than it has to do with what's there. I mean, I think the Hurricane Harbor attendance is like 40% of what it was a year ago ahead of the heat. So I don't know that it's a good indicator of whether this is a good thing or bad thing just based on attendance at Hawaiian Falls.
Thanks, Daniel. Okay, so I'm David McCaskill with Half and Associates. I've spoke with y'all before. It's been a little while. But yes, we have basically finished phase one. The only thing that we have held off on phase one is because we've made the move to keep the kiddie pool. We were going to use the pumps and the equipment for the kiddie pool to serve the slides when it was going to be at the kiddie pool location. Now that we're thinking about moving the slides to where they're shown now, we're going to have to add additional pumps because we had enough pumps to do the kiddie pool, but now we need an extra set of pumps to do the slides, pumps and filters. And so we're going to have to enlarge the north equipment room. So we've kind of held off on doing anything on the north equipment room. We've finished the south equipment room, even though we're getting ready to tear out part of it because the concrete slab underneath the chlorine tank didn't meet spec. So we're having the contractor tear it out so we all don't have problems on down the road. So that decision was made the other day and we're going to have, but for all practical purposes, phase one is complete. And we had started we were about 50% complete with phase two design. And then we got the notice that, okay, we want to move the slides to a different location, move the party room to a different location. So how did the slides get involved at the very beginning? So we met with the previous park director and he said, here's what we want to do. We want to bring in older kids. We want to figure out ways to bring more people to the pool. And so one of the things we said is you're missing an age group because once the kids get above the age of the splash pad, there's really not anything for them to do. So he said what draws that age group in is slides. And so we did that. We also are looking at adding some, kind of energizing the competition pool, putting some basketball goals in the competition pool, putting a climbing wall on the edge of the, kind of a plexiglass climbing wall to energize. These are just things we were considering. We're giving them the option to look at that as a possible, but just ways to bring older children into the pool. We also, one of the things, the way that the slide is designed, the exit for the slides is into a plunge pool. Plunge pool's only about 2.5, 3 feet deep. We can use that for water aerobics. Your competition pool's really too deep for water aerobics, but so it gives us a place that we can serve the senior crowd. So it was just going to be a multi-purpose facility. It wouldn't just serve the, let's say, the 10 to 15-year-old kids, or maybe not even 15-year-old, maybe 8 to 13-year-old kids. And then how do we also serve seniors at this thing? And also maybe even have some small, younger age swim classes in there, because once again, the competition pool is a little deep to have younger kids swimming lessons. So we were just looking at ways to energize the park and bring more people in. So that was the charge that we were given, and that's why we ended up with the slides here. It was based on the directive from the former park director to bring in more people to the pool. So that's how slides got involved. And so with that, and then one of the other things that especially in the previous location, we thought it was going to be really cool because we were going to have lights in the slide tower, so it kind of shined at night. So when you drove around the road on it, would really say, "Oh wow, that's really cool," because it'd be LED lights and it'd be really colorful and really draw people in too. It'll still have some of that same appeal in the new slide location, not quite as much since it's not quite as close to the road. Once again, it's just looking at ways to get people excited about the pool, and this is another way to do it. Because it's really not, if you drive by at night, you don't get that excitement like you do during the day, and you see all the water moving like that. You really don't see that at night. But if you have lights in that slide tower, and wow, what is it? That's right, I've got to go check that out. So multiple reasons why we were looking at doing a slide out here at the pool.
So that square next to the slide, is that the party room?
No, the party room is south of the splash pad. It's the hexagonal fixture,
Oh, okay.
and it's got a covered porch on the end of it. And actually, we sent Ronnie some drawings today. We're now thinking about, because we're going to enlarge the room a little bit to accommodate. We've got it designed now to hold 60 people. So, and we can divide it with a temporary partition between the
So
rooms.
we have, like, what, 120 current campers during the summer that, and potential for more, because there's a cutoff, and a lot of people have to find other source of daycare or whatever during the summer because that camp fills up. That's only half to accommodate what we already have in enrollment, and that is a bigger need. And again, we could do two things at once with a lot more dollar per child fee to enlarge that party room, maybe, and focus on having a better or bigger system for our campers.
Sure.
That would serve a bigger need than a slide. Now, I know I'm just gonna sit here and poop all over the slide, and that's not my intention, but I just feel like dollars would be spent better elsewhere. And then making it available to the outside world where we can block it off from the pool on non-season time so we can utilize it year-round for whatever we need to utilize it for would entail, we would need bathrooms. So we could block the entire pool off so there's no possible way during down season somebody could get in there and drown, because that would be terrible.
And that's the way we've got it designed right now.
Perfect.
And, the location we're considering right now is due east of the splash pad. So and we put it, actually, the party room would be partially outside the gate or the fence and partially inside the fence.
So could we double that size
Sure,
or more?
it's only money.
Well,
But yes, we
that's what
can.
I'm saying.
Yeah, because we've got it designed right now, and we've got it designed so that you could fit sit around tables and could seat 60 people in there around 10 different tables with six top tables.
If I could interject real quick. Currently, we only have 60 campers in our summer camp program
I thought we
So-
had 120.
per week. 60 campers per week is
Okay.
all that we currently have.
Well, I do know that we could house substantially more if we had a place for them. And every year that it's a fight to get on the list. We could double that, triple that if we had the availability.
It's just, it would be staffing issues
Say it's
and
a
then
staff issue.
Sure.
like field trips and different things. We'd probably have to break up into go different times for field trips. Currently, we can take all the kids at one time on a field trip versus,
Oh, I didn't say it was gonna be easy. I'm just saying, I'm gonna sit up here and make your life hard.
So we looked at that, when that program's being created, and we decided that 60 was a number based on staffing. It didn't have anything to do with facilities, it had to do with how much it cost to put employees in there to manage it, because it's pretty labor
But
intensive.
daycare's expensive, and we could afford staffers if we were charging, if we had 200 kids bringing in a little bit more maybe than what they're spending now. I mean, that stuff's expensive.
Tom, go ahead.
If I may, just a comment there. I told you I went and took a look at the club, pool, and tennis facilities. They have got a monstrous camp program. I went to just look around the corner, my old pool. I thought I saw at least 80 little kids and parents coming, picking them up and so forth. That's going away. Current course and speed, the country club intends to sell that property and those facilities and become pretty much exclusively a golf club. So, net, you may find pretty quick here that you have more demand for summer day camp / childcare kinds of facilities if they're available.
I want to make a quick point on even the existing, and Devin mentioned this a second ago, but I think it's critical that we keep this in mind regardless of if it's the proposed size or bigger or whatever. It's very, very important that we partition it, divide it, be able to be divided or whatever, because if it's too humongous of a complex, an average, toddler parent on the weekend wouldn't be able to afford renting that whole entire thing out just for a 2-hour birthday party.
Yeah, currently, we have it divided with a central petition that would divide it off, and the restrooms are available. The restrooms, you've got, the way it's designed is you've got the 2 party rooms with a removable partition between them, and then a hallway that you would go out into the hallway, and that's where you would access the kitchen and the restroom facilities. So
And
that the
the only-
restroom facilities and kitchen are available, but you're not doing separate restrooms.
Right, and then in the fall, we could have goat yoga in one room
Sure.
and karate in another.
Yeah, and the only reason I mentioned that is we just recently had a toddler birthday over there, and even renting the current facility is not cheap. There's some picnic tables and that sort of thing. So just want to make sure we don't, building it for the residents to be able to enjoy and rent out, but want to make sure we don't, price it out from being able to be achieved.
All right, so I have a question. Ronnie, from a capital improvement standpoint, how much, do we have money allocated? I know we agreed to keep the kiddie pool, which made perfect sense, right? Why demo that out? I mean, you already got an asset. But is there enough allocated to do the slides? And as it sits right now, has that been allocated?
there's enough to do the slides and the current picture, I believe, of the party room in the current budget. I don't have numbers for the expanded version of the party room.
But assuming it goes as planned, we have.
Assuming it has plans, we have the money.
All right, so history's taught me, all of us, it'll be no cheaper to build it today, after today, than it will be next year or next 2 years down the road. I think we need to move forward on this project as it is. You can always live to see another day to increase the community or the party room, whatever. If you had to, you could build a second party room. But I think you got to move forward on what's in front of us now and get that across the goal line.
If the slides weren't built, other than a bigger party room, is there other things that money could be spent on?
I think the slides is integral to what you're doing here. You won't, the reason why people don't go to this is, I've been to, NRH has, every town I drive by, Capel has, everybody has slides by their community pools now. We'd be the only one without slides.
Here's
So
the
just,
thing though,
just for
Tim's trying to
clarity,
say something.
all the kids go to Harmony Park, 'cause that's where their friends are.
just for
Just-
clarity.
just punch your
this-
microphone
This
and
project
cover it.
is moving forward
Yeah.
because it's already planned and budgeted.
That's what I'm saying. I think we just move forward as is, yeah.
Yeah, it was brought up at council, there's a request from council to discuss this. So we want to discuss it with you first, and then get your feedback before we take this to council.
All right,
But
good.
the
Wait.
project is moving
And
forward.
we're thinking along the same lines.
Okay. Can I interject real quick?
Sure, Tim.
You know, I can operate anything out there, and I'm pretty confident in my pool skills. I think a couple issues that, I'm just speaking on behalf of my swim team right now, as well as my swim programs, and in general, just kind of growing those. So, you know, with the slides, adding slides into that, it would be cool if we also look into, and I hope I'm speaking with intern here, but is adding non-residents to the facility to make this busier. But not only that, is we have a very busy swim team that utilizes that area for swim meets. And within that, the kiddie pool too right now is not being utilized for any programming whatsoever. I have all of my swim lessons in the lap pool. I am indifferent here. I want to preference that. I can operate anything here, and happy with whatever route we go. But one thing I do want to consider is that with most of the town having a pool in their backyard, we have seen, and Daniel and I have ran the numbers, we have seen a decrease in pool usage. So I think what we need to do more importantly to get pool usage up is focus on our programs. One importantly, which is our swim lesson program, is making it bigger. Also adding some senior fitness programs to our facility and adding bigger swim teams. I've been approached by multiple swim team participants to run year-round swim team. So just some of this, like I said, I'd like to say, maybe use the word Switzerland here. I couldn't care regardless, but where I want to see is some more programming.
I've been an advocate for opening it up to non-residents since I've been on this board.
Okay. The only way you're gonna get we talked about pool revenue, correct? A couple meetings ago. One way to get your pool revenues up and increase the gate fee is to have the slides. And it fits an age group of that 6 to 12, whatever, 6 to 14, or whatever, the pre-teenager age group. They'll run those slides all day long. They'll want to do that. And they don't have to pay $99 to go to Wine Falls. They can come in their own backyard and do it. I think we just make a motion this time to move forward with the capital project as it stands, as presented. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to move forward with the project as it stands.
Do I have a second?
Second it.
Second by Bob. All in favor? All right, moving forward.
Can I add one thing? We can design the party room to be expandable in the future. So we can design it in such a way that you could enlarge it in the future as funds become available, if that becomes something that you're
Let's
interested in.
build a second one. You just need two. You can build a second one. Then you can rent it twice.
Could
And
do
you can
that
have
too.
4.
Yeah, you can put them all the way around if you're inclined.
All right, thank you for your time.
You know,
Can I say one thing? You know, I'm all for this. Anything that will keep our kids in Trophy Club is great. But you were telling me about parking. We're hoping to bring in 200 people to the water park and parties. That's all the traffic by my house. That was the big complaint about Parkview. So which way is it? We want traffic or we don't want traffic here?
Well, I think we can handle the parking. We just heard that there was plenty of parking by the pool, right? All right, let's move. We've already got this one in the can. We're moving along, right?
so, Dean, sorry, I would like to talk more about more, activities at the pool and expanding the swimming and that kind of thing. Can we put that on?
Well, Daniel's
We
gonna have
can,
a
we can talk
presentation.
about that.
When Daniel
last
does
item.
his thing, we can
Thank-
talk about it.
Thank you.
He's gonna do his
Future
update.
agenda
We can hit him
items,
with
we
it
can
at
talk
the update.
Perfect.
You go, Daniel.
All right, that's a whole separate issue than this, although they're together, they're combined. All right, we need to take, this is really important one, so number 4, we need to discuss and take appropriate action to create a Trophy Club Park Subcommittee. This is very important because of all the ways that we can monetize Trophy Club and add tax revenues to park. David? Daniel, I'm sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
You're good. No, this item is something that the Parks Board had asked for during our last meeting, during our future agenda items. I believe it was Mr. Shrine who brought it up to us, so I'm going to bring it before you as well.
Well, we have there's a lot that needs to be done to the park, a lot that can be done. And I think it's gonna need to start with a subcommittee to start looking into what things we can do to improve the park, to bring more money
Oh, I know.
for the town
Patrick
into the park.
is gonna be-
So we need to put together a subcommittee. Patrick?
I would love to. Is it possible for somebody to backfill my pickleball slot? That's a lot.
Yes. Because yes. You have to
I mean,
do
that's
that.
an already created.
That's rocked along enough. It's cool. You have to be on the park.
Would like to be on.
You're Mr. Motorcycle.
It's not up for negotiation.
All right, so you want to chair it, is what you're saying?
I don't know if I said that, but
I think I heard you
Yes.
say you want to chair. I heard.
Oh,
I
I'll
heard-
I think
second
he's
that.
going to be the president.
I will,
Second that motion.
all right,
Yes,
all right, so I will assist you in this.
I
live
will,
over
I'm
there.
going to be on that too.
All right, so we have three. We can only have three, so it's us three?
Yep.
All right, so myself, Wendy, and Patrick will be on this Trophy Cup Park Subcommittee. We'll be working with Daniel.
Very good.
I will need your input on that.
And what exactly are you guys gonna be doing?
So there is a master plan that was created several years ago. We need to dig it out, dust it off, relook at it, and take a look at what's feasible, what's not feasible, what the Corps is gonna approve, what they won't approve, what grant money is available out there that we could resource, that we can go after. There's a whole lot of things that can be done, and it's a monster of a project. But I think it just starts and we can bring that to our next park board meeting, what we've found to begin with, what's out there, and we can discuss some of the things that we could do.
And maybe just an outline of action, potential
Yeah,
action
just-
steps that need to be taken.
Right, there's everything from improving the boat ramps to new motorized trail, there's camping parking spot, there's all kinds of things that were put on that master plan that we just need to look at.
We've already started. We'll just get you up to speed.
Okay, good. All right, so we need to make a motion to form this subcommittee. Do we have a motion? Do we have a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion to form a subcommittee for the Trip Club Park.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Boom.
All right, done, approved. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, just on your subcommittee, I would like to ask that you involve the connectivity committee, the ad
Absolutely.
hoc committee, because we've been doing some work, working with the Corps and looking at some opportunities there, and I think we really need to work together on that.
That's you then.
I'm on that committee, yes.
All right, we need you.
Okay.
Because the Corps is integral in moving forward, and having a relationship with the Corps is gonna be so important. So if you've already have that relationship,
Well, I and some of the other members of the committee, yes.
we have that, somebody has that relationship?
Yeah.
That's pinnacle to what we have to get done.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we will you heard her. She's part of it. We're gonna resource her.
It's too late. We've already written your name down. It's happening.
Go ahead, Tom.
I just want to make one comment.
Go ahead, Tom.
Tom Mills, 113 Creekcourts Drive. I've been using Trophy Club Park since 1986 and maintaining the trail system since 2012.
You are Mr. Trails.
The only comment I want to make is be aware, and those that have been around here a while understand this, Trophy Club Park is the bottom of the lake. Things have been tried to be installed and built out there in the past, and they're in the bottom of the lake. So just be aware of that. The Corps built the lake to control floods and conserve water. And that's pretty much all they're interested in, so.
I've seen the speed limit sign underwater.
Seen- I have pictures I can show you in the 2015 flood where the only thing that was not flooded was the gatehouse and restroom. It was right up in the back of your house.
I know, well, I had lakefront property for about a month. It was pretty nice. Should have sold it right
You
there.
sold it, right?
Yeah, should have sold it. All right, thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. All right, so we need to discuss and take appropriate action regarding the replacement of fencing around Trophy Club Park garden area. It's in disrepair, I'm assuming.
I'm going to let Tim ready. Again, he's
All right, Tim.
Mr. Aquatics, but
Let's talk
also
about the fence.
over Trophy Club Park.
Is it on here?
There you go.
Go ahead. Oh, there it is.
That's the fence.
All right. So I think to move, first of all, I'm really excited about this subcommittee. I think this is going to be great for the park. And I'm excited to get your ideas and go to work off of this. With that said, the fence up around the pavilion, Jorge and I have been doing our best to keep that going over the last year, and it continues to fall apart. So just to get park board more involved with more things at the park, we'd like you guys to pick which fence to put there. So currently, right now, there's an old, I guess it's cedar fence that's all the way through. That is falling apart and is rotted. So the plastic, kind of the white plastic looking one right there, that is supposed to last longer than wood products and would look good with our white pavilion out there, but then also maybe keeping with the natural look with the other one, so.
Does the little barn go out with the fence when the fence leaves?
We can maybe move it somewhere
Can
else.
we relocate the little storage barn somewhere else?
Maybe doing something else.
I like the white one, eh? Looks cool. And he's right, plastic will last forever. We won't have to replace it no more. And Daniel can go wash it when it gets all dirty.
I just don't want to put it in
Really?
there and then go, we want to do something else there.
Yeah, but will the plastic start to fade or peel, between the hot and the cold that we have? here all-
PVC.
No,
It's gonna
that's
last forever.
infallible. That's for.
It'll get dirty, but it can be washed.
Right,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, easy cleanup, it can be washed.
It'll look better than that fence 5 years from
I
now.
don't think anything near term.
And the fence there is kind
Should
of
we-
ugly right
well,
now,
that's
for
when we
sure.
Make a decision on what we're going to do with that piece.
And I don't think I've seen anybody out there using that pavilion in the longest time, because it's.
That's right.
Because it's
That's
kind
what
of
I'm saying.
sketchy looking, so,
That's correct.
right?
Yeah,
In efforts to use, people using it, this would be great.
so I think it looks great, but we're just discussing that use of that area was under discussion with, kind of the prior subcommittee that was talking about the park. So I don't know that we have a full agreement on what that is going to be, area is going to be used for. So the suggestion was maybe we table that for what we figure out what we're doing over there.
We went to pavilion?
Just the garden
whole area.
It's the garden area, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the garden area, yeah. Well, the
If we're gonna-
community garden area.
If we're going to parlay it into something, a long time ago, the Women's Club used to maintain it. I don't know that they still do. And if we're going to turn it into something that's a little bit more beneficial, there's no reason to spend money on a fence now.
Having a garden in Texas at 107 degrees is futile.
Right,
don't think you
I'm
can
with
have
you.
a garden
I'm
out
not,
there that's
I'm not
gonna
slighting them. I'm just saying, maybe we don't spend money on a fence till we know what we're going to do with the
Well,
spot.
I think you need the fence no matter what you do, honestly. It's seriously, we used to be weddings and stuff out there. I've never seen anybody out there doing weddings in the longest time.
And if I can interject too, the hog problem out there, so we had hogs go into that pavilion area. When I first started, it was like around September, October. So keeping other animals and different things out of there, we have a massive amount of deer there that do jump the fence and like to eat things like that. So I think they'll get over regardless, but keeping some of things out, like hogs, would
Well,
be.
if we're going to do a
important.
things out situation, the top one, because things can
No,
go
he's saying
through
you
that.
don't want to do the garden because you can't keep things out. No,
Oh.
that's not going to keep the deer out no matter what you do,
Right,
Right.
neither one of
right?
them.
They can jump that, no problem. If we do anything that keeps out the deer, it's going to look like a prison compound.
Yeah. We don't want that.
So can we table this until we have a subcommittee meeting and then kind of figure out where we're going to go and then we'll know how to move forward?
You
Is
want
that
to table whether
doable?
we should put the pretty white fence?
Turn it into something else.
You can motion to place it on the table, sir.
we were bringing it to y'all tonight. We have some funds left in this year's budget that could be used for a project like this, that we thought this would be good to help beautify the area out there. And, you know, the white fence is about half the cost of the wood fence that's proposed that's up there and everything. So we were just, you know, with it lasting longer, looking nicer, we were just trying to get some direction. And
So I lived by there, and I can tell you, a few years ago, that little pavilion area was very pretty. Flowers and trees, and there was weddings and things, and family reunions and that stuff. I can't see a downside to changing out the fence to make it look nice. I don't know a scenario where you wouldn't do that.
Unless we're gonna not have that pavilion there anymore, and then it's just a waste of money. We're doing it just to do it. That's what.
What's the cost for the fence?
for the white fence
Yeah.
is around 15,000. For the wood fence is around 28,000.
And if you've got funds left over,
Correct.
right? So you're not taking it from anywhere else.
No.
So the park is how many square acres?
700, 800.
Okay. We have 700 acres to do all kinds of fun stuff. But I think keep that little pavilion like it is with a nice fence is not a bad first.
Could we take that $15,000 and buy new trash cans? Or something like that? I mean, can we parlay that into something else inside?
We are looking into trash cans also at this time, so.
I'm assuming this one's project we're already gonna do, we're deciding on which fence. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. I need a motion for the white picket fence. Anybody
I
want
make a
to?
motion to,
The
Bob
cheapest
Ferguson
one.
makes it.
Yeah,
Do I have a second?
yep, cheapest one.
All right. Wendy is a second. All in favor of the white picket? All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, we have a discussion, take appropriate action regarding the addition of fencing around Harmony Park basketball court.
All right. Had a lot of fence projects this time. And so if everybody's been out there, I know everybody's probably been in Harmony Park. The basketball court sets up on a hill. And with soccer games going on down below, basketball players up above, a lot of people shoot the basketball like me and miss it a lot. And the ball goes rolling down the hill into the soccer fields and different things. So
It becomes a soccer ball.
basically, so the idea was to put a fence up basically on three sides so that if they do, the balls will hopefully stop from rolling down the hill and different things. We're proposing a black 6-foot-tall chain link fence with a vinyl coating on it just to, you know, a couple things, keep the ball up so the gals aren't having to chase it all the way down the hill. And also just don't interrupt the soccer games and different things,
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
I've seen the basketballs on the soccer field. It's a distraction.
Well, it's a safety hazard.
Yeah, it's a safety hazard. All right, assuming it's another thing, we need a motion to keep moving
I'll
forward.
make a motion to enclose the basketball
Wendy,
court.
is it?
Second.
Patrick seconds, all in favor?
Yep.
All right, good, that
Thank
was
you.
easy. That's a no-brainer, that fence. All right, now, before we get to the announcements, Daniel, we need to talk about any future agenda items. Anything we need to put on the agenda for the future besides stuff we already have on the agenda? All right, no future items? Oh,
You probably want an update on the pickleball court progress.
I guess we should, yes, let's make that,
You're going to be sending out council pretty soon.
actually, let's do two then, I guess, one for the Trophy Club Park and then one for pickleball update from the subcommittees for next month.
All righty. Update from the Trophy Club Park Subcommittee and an update from Parks Improvement / Pickleball.
And I don't think we need to talk about the pool, it's moving forward with or without us.
well, it goes to council.
No, what I meant, it's moving forward without us. All right, now, Daniel, let's do your announcements.
All righty. We put the announcements at the end, try and make them go a little bit faster. All right, so announcements and reports. Again, these are just some updates from the Parks and Rec staff, just to keep the board involved and keep the community educated as to what our efforts are recently. So from as far as our Parks Department, we are moving forward with resurfacing the basketball and tennis courts at Harmony Park to match that which exists at Independence Park West. Looks a little bit nicer in the photos. You can see we're looking forward to making that a little bit nicer for our community. Back to the pool, we have a couple things as we're closing out the summer, as our staff are going back to school, and most of our community and patrons of the pool are going back to school. We are going into our end of the season hours. We are open on weekends only, Saturdays and Sundays. Our splash pad is always opens at 10, the rest of our pool at 11, and we'll close it all down at 7 p.m. Like I said, that's Saturdays and Sundays only. From now all the way until Labor Day. That'll be our last day we are open for our 2023 season. Also at the pool, we are bringing back our dive-in movies. That's going to be on September 2nd, that Saturday. We're going to be playing Disney's brand new The Little Mermaid for you. Sun is expected to go Sun's expected to go down around 8 p.m., so we'll be starting just around then for that. It's going to be the same rules and regulations as our normal operating hours. We're just going to extend that into it. Pricing, residency restrictions, all that still stays in play as it normally does. Some events coming up as well. We have our Taste of Trophy Club. If you'll remember back with me into April, that was rained out for us. Of course, it didn't rain, but Mother Nature's got our calendar. So we rescheduled it here for the 15th in September, that Saturday. Same time at 6 p.m. in the same place at Independence East. Recreation Coordinator, Miss Cassidy Hill, has been working very hard on this, and we're very excited to bring it to the community. Of course, a little bit over, I guess less than, over a month out is our October 7th Pet Fest event coming. That was my first event, so I'm excited to see it again. But we have already started going accepting vendors for that. So we're going to have a lot more vendors than we have in the past. Big focus on our dogs and our furry friends as we go out there. And then my last update for y'all is from our adult athletic leagues. It's going to be our bocce ball and our kickball. Both have opened for registration as of today. Bocce ball is going to start their season on September 23rd, and our kickball will start their season on September 13th. Registration for both of those will close just a few days before the season starts. So if you're interested in either of those, I recommend you hop on our website and you can sign up there. Those are all of my announcements and reports. If there's any questions, I'll take them now.
Sounds great.
Very cool.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Daniel. All right. Ronnie, we have anything else? Patrick, nothing? All right, then I make a motion that we adjourn at 8:16. Have a second? We don't need a second? All right, I just motion and we adjourn.
Wave your hand,